it's a mixture. Like I have to even ask myself that question because I've always felt like myself, I've always had that question posed to me, like, do you really want your life to change, or is it just you're just seeing? And for me, I think they do want their life to change, but they just don't see how it can change. Like they genuinely just don't, because it's all they've known.
We have discovered Armani, who likes boxing and works in property management. He used to be very money orientated, but his current goal is more about quality of time and having time to pursue things he really cares about. He is also involved in a youth mentoring program aimed at helping people who could perhaps choose a better path or are on the wrong path, which could be useful in terms of checks and balances, because if I start wandering off the right path and turn to a life of crime, then maybe Armani can help set me straight. Or even worse than that, if I start a YouTube channel about something I know nothing about, then he can steer me onto the straight and narrow. He is also into fitness and healthy eating, but has previously taken it too far and made his life boring, so now aims for a more balanced approach. Let's watch this next chat, which is the second half of our first conversation.
Hello.
Right, just going to log into this Myers-Briggs thing. What are you up to today? What good stuff you got on?
After this, I've got some viewings to do at two different properties. As I've got just a couple vacancies that are still void, and then after that, I not sure, to be honest. I was yeah, I'm not too sure really. Might see one of my friends. I think got an early finish at work.
Yeah, so normally we would be talking more about what I've labelled as purpose and how your life fits into. Well, there's a bunch of definitions for purpose I see it, but so I want to slightly change course and do this personality test first, and then we'll swing back to that. But so I guess that's why I'm faffing around, because I wasn't set up for this moment, because I didn't think this would happen. But there we are.
What about sea based?
Quite close to Swindon. Do you know Swindon at all?
Swindon, yeah, familiar with Swindon.
But out in the middle of the countryside, like I'm literally in a lodge surrounded by cows and whatnot. Do you mind sharing your screens? I don't think I've seen it from the perspective of your side.
Has that worked?
Nice. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Takes a little while, so yeah, let's just slowly plod through this.
We're just going to zip through the Myers-Briggs personality test. In other videos, we show the test being done, but that was because people read out the questions out loud. In this video, neither me nor Armani read the questions out loud, so it's just footage of someone clicking on a screen. And whilst we say we make our viewers work for it, watching someone click on a screen for 10 minutes is, well, we have to draw the line somewhere. So we fast forward the test and go straight to the outcome.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to interfere, but scroll back up a tiny bit. Is the modelling not creative expression?
No, the only reason I say it is, but I'd say it's someone else's. Like it's not
Okay.
my creative expression.
Okay, sorry, shouldn't interfere.
Do you want to see results?
Mm-hmm.
And then on to this one.
Do you know what? Yeah, if you make a start on that, I'm going to look at, because I should have the results this end.
Okay.
So I'll look at these. Yeah, maybe. Sorry to stop you halfway through that. Maybe we'll talk about this one for a minute.
Yeah.
So a lot of your where it gives the percent. So it gives you the letters, which is E, S, F, J. But a lot of your answers are kind of near. Not your answers, sorry. A lot of your traits, it says, are near the middle. So you're kind of fairly balanced out on I think on all four of those things. Where's there? Yeah, so 52% and 52%. That's, and then 57 and 57. So yeah, super near the middle. So I'm thinking the letters themselves don't tell us too much. But yeah, let's read. I'm going to read out this kind of stuff it says, and then if
Hmm.
you just let me know if any of it's particularly wrong or particularly right or any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Um, so ESFJ. So the E obviously means slightly more extroverted than introverted. S is for sensing or observant. So that means you're more connected with the world as it is, as opposed to what it implies. But where it's 52%, that's kind of basically in the middle of what the world is and what the world implies.
Hmm.
Um, and again, feeling as opposed to thinking on that metric, 57%, slightly towards feeling. And then the judging versus perceiving. I know it says on this test prospecting, but I know it's perceiving, which means you're balanced between making decisions and gathering more information.
Hmm.
Uh, so your title it gives you is consul, which I don't even know what that means, which is bad. I should know what that means. You are the warm heart and steady hand that keeps your social circles, workplace, and family running smoothly. Your genuine care for others, coupled with your practical nature, makes you a pillar of support in any community. I mean, that immediately resonates with what you said about doing your mentoring stuff. That feels like can't fault them on that so far.
Hmm.
You have an uncanny ability to sense others' needs and a strong drive to meet them. What do you feel of that? What do you feel about that?
I think I do. I do agree with that. I think I'm just. I think it's less of me coming up with a plan for that person and me kind of more just just talking with that person and giving them my point of view or my past experiences to kind of help them come to their decision. But I would say I'm uh definitely think I'm a good listener and I'm not like judgmental. So a lot of my friends do often come to me with things that they don't want to tell other people just because I've like yeah, I'm not gonna judge no matter what is really. And I'm always, well, yeah, always open to listen. I don't necessarily agree with the part that it says I'm more extroverted. Uh, just because honestly, everybody I know calls me a introvert, and I might be extroverted in some instances, like when I'm with my friends I went to school with, like when we meet up. But I would say in general, like on a day to day, I'm more introverted, but I'm able to have conversations with anybody, and I'm comfortable in conversations with anybody.
Mm-hmm. Often putting the welfare of those around you above your own. Like I feel that's probably true from things you've mentioned so far. Uh, your world is built on a foundation of tradition, duty, and social responsibility. You thrive in structured environments. I mean, obviously, you mentioned about your routine being disrupted,
Hmm.
where roles and expectations are clear, and you take great pride in fulfilling your obligations. Your organizational skills are top notch. Is that true?
Somewhat, somewhat. I would
Somewhat top
say,
notch.
yeah, somewhat top notch. Like I'm always on top of it, and I never let it get too disorganized. Generally, I do keep good track of things. I think where I go wrong is I don't really write stuff down. I just kind of rely on my memory and my brain to remember things, and that's where I can get let down some of the times. But more often than not, I'm pretty good.
Hmm. Do you do you ever read learny or self-helpy type books?
I did up until a couple of years ago. Um, I read like Atomic Habits and um, a couple other books to do with like property investment and how to kind of structure certain things. I kind of just got to a point where I was like, there's only so many self-help books and videos I can watch before I just watch loads and I don't actually do anything myself.
Um, yes, one thing on the that's one thing we'll talk about at some point is the balance of that learning and doing. But anyway, um, I don't suppose you bumped into a book called Getting Things Done by David Allen.
Guessing no, I haven't.
Okay. Um, uh, so organizational skills are top notch, allowing you to juggle multiple responsibilities with apparent ease, whether it's planning a family gathering or conducting a work or project.
Yeah, I'll read that.
While your outgoing nature and apparently your social grace make you appear confident, you often grapple with an inner need for approval and validation. You are deeply sensitive to others' opinions and can be your own harshest critic. This exercise is reminding me that reading is really not my strong point. But anyway, this sensitivity, while sometimes challenging, is also the source of your remarkable empathy and your ability to create harmony in your surroundings. Your strength lies in your ability to bring people together and create a sense of belonging. So, with your mentoring, are you bringing people together, or do they like? How does that work? How do you? Is that the right word? Mentoring? Am I using the right word?
Yeah, yeah, mentoring. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily bringing people together, more so helping people on a one-to-one basis, and then I might potentially, I don't know, like if I have two U's on the same day, I might try and introduce them so that they know that there's someone else their age in a similar sort of position, and then I'm kind of like the glue for them for like the first couple weeks, and then they might become friends or they might not. But I wouldn't say I actively bring people together. It's
How
more
do
like a
they? How do you end up? Is this through some organisation who just
yeah,
organise?
yeah. So there is an organization I work with. They get referrals from the police, or schools or like child services, in regards to like they just have a high risk child that isn't going to school, or maybe they've been caught selling drugs, or they've been caught with a knife, or any number of things. Maybe their mum has mental health and they're not eating properly at home. So then they'll get a referral from the police or child services or the school. And then it's usually like that'll be the first stop before looking to take them out of their home or out of their school or send them to juvie. The first stop would generally be, right, can we do anything with them? Which would generally be like, okay, like you say, you want to become work on a construction site, let's get your CSCS card. You're saying you want to go back into football, let's make sure you get to training every day. You're saying you want to get 5 GCSEs, then let's make sure you're revising. Just whatever it is, it's just trying to just keep them just on that track from, yeah, referral.
What age group is this?
It's teens, so it's generally from like 13 up to about 19, 20.
Okay. Uh, and what do you feel your aim for these people, these youths, is?
My aim is just to give them another look just at life. I'm not necessarily trying to make them into anything or think a certain way. It's just simply to give them another look at life. Like one
What
youth
what
that I work,
what does that mean? So another look, as in another perspective, or
another perspective. So one youth I was working with back in 2021. I think at the time he just turned 15 or 16, and he was going down a proper bad path and like robbing people, drug dealing, all that sort of stuff. And anyway, we started mentoring. Me and my friend were doing sessions with him. And then I think it was about a year ago, I saw him working a legit job, I think for a charity, collecting money. So I stopped my car because I noticed him. And then we just got talking for a little bit. He's now, what, 21 maybe? And I just got talking and he was just like, yeah, like me, he was like, meeting you honestly just changed everything because I just explored every option with him. I was like, okay, you're saying you're good at sports, so we're going to do sports every day. And then, okay, you're saying you don't enjoy sports now, so let's look at getting you an apprenticeship. Okay, you're saying you don't want an apprenticeship now and you want to become an entrepreneur. Then tell me what ideas you have and what you think you can offer the world. And then, okay, you don't want to be an entrepreneur anymore. You want to work a 9 to 5. That's fine. We can look for 9 to 5s in certain sectors. He ended up settling on a job for a charity, which I didn't expect, but it put a smile on my face because it was like 3 years ago, I would have never seen him doing that job, like ever, just standing in the street with a big smile on his face, talking to homeless people. And I was just generally just happy because I was like, you're actually just a functioning member of society that is kind of just living their life now. Whereas a few years ago, you didn't see any hope, and the best part of your day was either robbing somebody or selling drugs and just being a nuisance. And now he's actually just sticking to gym, going to his job, got a girlfriend. And even if he doesn't achieve what he initially set out to achieve, which is becoming a millionaire and whatnot, he still won because he's here and he's not in jail. And that's the whole reason why we did the sessions with him, was to stop him going down that path and just to see him happy and not just like seeing him on the street smiling and not just having like a straight screw face and just looking at, like, it was actually just a nice moment where I was like, man, like I'm actually just happy for you and just proud, like, to see that you're actually just a member of society, like not being like outcasted. Like it's actually just a nice feeling. Also to know that like I was a part of it as well, and just to help you, because at the time he was a bit of a lost cause. And it was just little sessions of just, oh, okay, we're doing boxing today. Okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. Just giving him different things to look at. Whereas he never had that before. He was just surrounded by people his age that was all on the same sort of thing. So when he's saying to them that he wants to try and get back into football or he wants to get into construction, because they all don't know what it's like, they're all just taking the mick out of him and making him feel bad, which is what I guess teens do. Like we've all done that as a younger person, but I think it's just heightened when you're already not living like a normal life as a teen. Like you're already living quite like a fast, dangerous, exciting lifestyle where you might make a few hundred quid on a day, 500 quid a day, which is great money. But at the same time, like you're stood out on the street all day carrying a knife, and like, is it really worth it? Like at the end of the day.
You reckon a lot of the people you mentor want things to change, or do some of them just like it how it is and they just want to keep going?
It's a mixture. Like I have to even ask myself that question because I've always felt like myself, I've always had that question posed to me, like, do you really want your life to change, or is it just you're just seeing? And for me, I think they do want their life to change, but they just don't see how it can change. Like they genuinely just don't, because it's all they've known. So for them, it's a thing of where it's like, of course I want it to change, but I just don't see how it can change. Like this person stabbed me a year ago, and they can't rest until they get revenge, or they're not making any money and they thought of working 8 hours a day just to come home with £1 to £2 a month seems just ridiculous. So I think they do want to change, but it's just having to just say to them that, like, at the minute you're living a very quick life and you're getting rewarded quickly, and you're basically just getting everything that you want. Like you're able to wake up, do this, do that. No one's holding you accountable. I said, if you actually want to change, then you have to go through the change and just accept that life isn't, I guess, as exciting as it is for you at the minute. And that excitement isn't actually excitement. It's just the uncertainty of the unknown, of not knowing what's going to happen. Like, am I going to wake up and die today? Am I going to wake up and get arrested today? And essentially just boils down to that, where it's like, if you don't want to change, then cool. Like, you can stay in that, but there's a much more peaceful option at hand, which you can take if you like, but it's up to you. Because even for myself, I had to ask myself, about like, do I want to change? So I got to the point where I'm thinking like, as much as I want to change and I want to try new things, I feel like I'm too old. Like I'm 20 years old. Like what? Like I remember thinking like, what hobby can I start now? I'm too old. Like, and then I just had to force myself and just be like, okay, if you start now, in 10 years' time, when you're 30, you'd have been doing it for 10 years. And I just have to start thinking of it that way, as opposed to, oh, I've lost out on 20 years. Just trying to think of it as like, no, like, what do I still have to gain? As opposed to what have I lost? And that was the turning point for me when I started asking myself questions like that, just because I did kind of hit a wall where I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm just happy to be this person that just is depressed because the way certain things played out. But I just had to ask myself that question, like, do you have more stuff to gain?
How did you come across asking yourself that question? Like, what was it? Was this all internal, or did you read a book, or did you have some kind of mentor? Like, what made you think to ask that question and try and change?
Um, it's a mixture. So it's conversations with people, certain friends. It's also conversations with certain women that I was dating, and like me not fully being able to communicate and express certain things, and um them seeing that and kind of just saying to me that like, look, like something's gonna have to change, because otherwise you're gonna be an impossible boyfriend or husband to be with, because you just kind of have this really pessimistic, negative mindset. And that's something I still struggle with, but it's something that I've actively been trying to change for the last 6 years. And it's something I'll always probably be working on. But the main thing was just that initial change. And I think it's down to, yeah, a mixture, like talking with friends, talking with women that I've dated. I've done a little bit of counseling. I've done a lot of research and just trying different stuff. And that's how I essentially started just posing myself with different questions to allow myself to really just think and just not accept defeat, and just think that, oh, like my best years was from when I was born to like 1920. Like, no, there is still whole other life that I have to live.
But when I remember on my 19th birthday, just thinking, just being slightly, I guess, depressed at how old I'd got, and like
Mhm,
thinking I'm kind of getting to the age now I'm just irrelevant because young kids and teenagers we're the cool ones, and
mhm,
grown ups are just pointless. But turns out it's not how you think when you get a bit older. But yeah,
mhm, for sure.
uh, you do you mind if I carry on reading snippets from the Myers-Briggs test, and we'll
Yeah, yeah.
keep going through that. Um, okay, so the career path is the next section.
Mhm,
In your professional life, you shine brightest in roles that allow you to combine your people skills with your organizational abilities. Which sounds plausible. Like obviously, do your stuff with the properties. Well, all of your endeavors involve people skills and organizing, but you thrive in environments where you can directly see the positive impact of your work on others, be it in healthcare, education, hospitality, or human resources. Strong work ethic, reliability, and attention to detail make you a valued team member in any organization. Um, I'm gonna okay. So what I think I'm gonna do right now is skip over to. I know you talked about being pessimistic. I'm gonna skip over to the weaknesses section, and I'm
mhm.
probably gonna study this a bit more depth in my own time. And if we do another session, we'll chat about that. But yeah, I just want to skip straight to the weaknesses, which is a bit of a pessimistic thing, but that's what we're going to do. So your weaknesses: stuck in routine. Your comfort with familiar methods might prevent you from embracing beneficial new ideas. Dependent on approval. Your strong desire for validation can delay crucial decisions and risk others' displeasure. Um, Overinvesting in harmony. Your focus on keeping the peace can cause you to ignore important workplace disagreements. Taking criticism personally. You sometimes interpret professional feedback as direct disapproval, limiting your growth opportunities. Is that correct? You haven't said anything to suggest that.
Yeah, I internalize a lot. Um,
So you would say that is correct.
so I'll say that is correct. It's not, I didn't, if someone said something to me professionally, like professional constructive criticism, I wouldn't dwell on that like all day and it wouldn't necessarily ruin my mood, but I would generally think, yeah, next time I come back in, like I'm done. Like job's fried. I'm fine. Like they kind of just got my P45 waiting for me the next day. That's kind of like my thinking. So yeah, like I hate when someone will come to me and say, "Oh, can we book a meeting on Monday? Just need to discuss something with you." Like for me, I'm like, just call me now because I can't wait until Monday for you to say whatever it is. Like I'll stop whatever I'm doing and
Just
just
sack me and tell me I'm the worst person that ever lived. Just want to get
yeah.
it done with now.
Yeah. So for me, I hate that. So that's something that I really try and just chill out and just be like, okay, they want to talk to you. It probably is a bad thing, but it can't be that bad because they've scheduled it for a week away. And then when it comes round, it usually, like, I remember the owners of the agency that I work with most, they called me in for a meeting about 2 years ago. And they'd sent me a message like, hey, are you free next Tuesday, 1 p.m.? I was just thinking, like, a week? Like, just, we can meet up today, tomorrow. Like, can we just get this sorted? So I ended up meeting them the week later. And I turned up and I was just in a bad mood because I was thinking, like, this is cruel. Like, you guys could have just told me you don't want to work with me, like, last week, whatever. Cool. And then we get to the end of the meeting, and I was just looked at them, and I just had this massive relief, and I was like, guys, like, why? Like, we could have just had this conversation on the phone. Like, we didn't. It was just positive praise, like, just to let me know that a good job I'd been doing. And when I left, I remember just saying to them, like, in the future, like, if you're gonna just give me praise, like, just call me or just text me or something, because I generally have been losing my mind like every day, thinking that this is going to be the worst meeting ever, and it turned out to be a really good meeting. And I remember just thinking, like, I really need to change that because that's not a good trait. Like, it's just yeah, it's really stressful.
Oh, interesting. I think I'm on the other end of that in terms of quite often I have to call meetings with people, and I'm often conscious that they might be concerned or worried or stuff. And quite often people will joke about their P45 and they're joking, they're being friendly, but there's probably a reason why they're making that
Yeah.
joke. But unfortunately from my position, every time I want to speak to someone, I can't mollycoddle them too much. It's like I've got
Hmm.
too much stuff to do. I just have to say, can we meet at this time?
So
And yeah, it's just the way it is, unfortunately. Um, I'm now just scanning and again um, focusing on weaknesses, but
mhm.
avoiding difficult truths. Your impulse for harmony makes you hesitate to address uncomfortable personal issues directly. Is that true? I don't think you've said anything that suggests that. Is that
I
accurate?
would say that is true more on like yeah, more on a personal level. Um, yeah, I I say a common trait I have is kind of I'm a quick learner and I'm able to do things quite quickly, and then I get to a level where I might need more help or I might have to adjust something. Then I kind of struggle to do that because I get to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm good enough and that is cool. Then it might just be a thing where I have to tweak something to do to get better, but I struggle to do that just because I think like, oh, like it's not going to be as good, or whoever's teaching me isn't going to be as happy with my results, or like I'll compare it to boxing. Like it's taken my coach a long time for me to get in and to spar regularly, just because I just never wanted to look stupid, and I enjoyed looking the part. Like, oh, when I'm on the bags, I'm hitting it hard and I look muscly and I'm sweaty, and then it's like, oh, now you want to watch me spar, and everything goes out the window, and I hate that people are now watching me thinking like, look at this joker, like like he's really good on the bag, but as soon as he jumps in there, you can't do nothing. And that is kind of like that plays a part in like I would say not just boxing but every part of my life where I'm like I'm good, and then when it comes to actually showing it and doing it, I'm kind of just like I know I'm good enough, so I'll just keep it for myself and not show anybody else. and that's something I've been trying to definitely change.
So there's lots of reasons in coaching that we talk about and care about people's purpose, and it's a kind of alien way of thinking for most of us most of the time, because it's not a topic that's really broached and people don't really know what purpose is and all that kind of stuff. But it does have a few advantages, and one of them is when someone understands their purpose, their objectives, what they want to achieve, within the confines of purpose, so not just their selfish life goals, but how it helps other people. Uh, it allows us a little bit to just take ourselves out of the equation, because instead of thinking about how will I look, we're not
Hmm.
we, our thought processes that we've been cultivating are, these are my purposes and these are the steps. Is this next step going to go towards my purpose? And then we can sometimes just forget about, will I look silly, for example, doing this next
Hmm.
step, or look incompetent or anything like that. um, yeah. So that is one of the reasons we look at purpose. We'll talk about the other reasons as we go along. But
Hmm.
the next one, the next weakness seems wrong to me, but correct again. Maybe I've discomfort with solitude. You struggle to spend significant time alone, potentially missing valuable moments of self. You struggle to spend significant time alone.
I'll say it's not that I struggle to spend time alone. It's more so I struggle to spend meaningful time with people. So just spending time with people doing like positive things, as opposed to like most of the time when I meet my friends, we're most likely getting intoxicated, or a lot of the time if I don't know, like I feel like I'm not I often will spend time alone just because I find it easier to just control what I want to do. Like my hobbies involve mostly just staying fit and honestly just watching like boxing breakdowns and certain interviews and things like that. And the thing I struggle with when I'm spending time with people is just kind of like not trying to keep up those same sort of hobbies, as opposed to calling my friend and being like, oh, shall we go to the gym? Shall we go to boxing? It's more like, oh, shall we go to the pub? Or shall we go get some super greasy food? And then that kind of forces me to just be like, nah, like maybe just spend today alone because I don't want to do any of those things. But if I do meet up with people, I probably will most likely end up doing that.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to put this down as this is a mistake in the. Obviously, this algorithm's not perfect. It just asked you a few questions and spat out a load of stuff, and I think it's been quite on the ball in many ways. But yeah, I think that's probably jumping out as being incorrect. Cool. Yeah. So I will study that more in my own time, and if you feel like it and get bored, then you can click on the other ones. But it's not particularly crucial to what we're looking at. Okay, do you mind if I take the conversation somewhere? Well, I've got a few different random questions and then something slightly a bit more involved, so I'm just going to spit fire off a few things.
Mhm.
Well, the reading one, actually, we've covered that. Um, do you do relaxing on the weekends or carry on being productive?
I do relax. I try to do at least something productive. Just because otherwise I find just like I don't think it's I personally don't think it's good to just completely relax on a Saturday and a Sunday because it throws me off for the actual week. So I'll try and go to boxing either Saturday or Sunday, and then I'll also try to fit in some work on one of those days as well, just so I'm not too far out of my routine. Um, Otherwise, and it's something I actually struggled with as of recent. I was dating somebody and we would chill we would meet up like pretty much every Friday, and we'd stay the night at each other's house until Saturday, and we'd have like a chill weekend. And after a couple of months, I remember just thinking, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because even though it's nice to chill, I'm just thinking like on a Saturday morning, like I could be going down to the gym and sparring, or getting a bag hour or two on the bag done, and then I've also got a bit of extra time to do some viewings. And I think I could do all that, and it could still only be midday or 1 p.m., and then we could chill for the whole day, as opposed to like me just waking up at 9 or 10 and then staying in bed to watch a film, and then getting out of bed to have lunch, and then just chilling. Like I do struggle with days like that. So on the weekend, I do try to keep busy by some regard, even if it's maybe like I arrange like a test shoot with a photographer, and we just go out shooting for a couple hours. Just kind of just keeps my mind ticking, and I don't feel like I'm wasting the day.
Okay. And I guess the half constructed thought I had in my head was about I guess the late nights and the not wanting to miss out on like exciting conversations and social stuff, um, because that is important. Like the so not missing out on social stuff, and obviously chatting to your friends in Australia, and if jokes are happening real time, like you need to be part of that sometimes. So I guess I was thinking in my mind of some kind of compromise where there's 1 or 2 evenings in a week where you know that you will get to be in that because that's scheduled in.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, if you're trying to be productive on the weekends, then that's slightly more complicated. Because skipping around, but one of the things when we work out, everything you want to do and what makes you happy and your purpose. Can you still hear me, or is it disconnected?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I got a little signal. Is to have things which are more exciting, to fulfill your purpose is more exciting than that conversation, or watching that other YouTube video at 11
Hmm.
o'clock at night. So it's not a sacrifice. So like, I want to go to bed early because I'm excited about ticking all these things off tomorrow that actually tie in perfectly with my life and my goals and my purpose.
Hmm.
um, but it'd probably be that for someone in their 20s, you wouldn't want to totally exclude yourself from fun late night conversations ever.
Yeah.
Like for me at my age, it's totally different. So I'd love to be excluded from as many conversations as possible and go to bed super early. But obviously, it's another 20 years away for you probably. So yeah, so that was my half constructed thought on that, and I'm going to mull that over a bit more at some point. But yeah. So the next thing is like circling back to time stuff. Um, so we've got work. I put 4 things in work, even though I know 2 of them aren't technically work. We've got your property, modeling, training, and mentoring. So I'm putting those in a kind of productive work thingamajig. And then I guess I'm going to try and find out what other stuff chews up your time, in life in general, in socializing, and in other. So in life, I've just popped down cooking and chores because presumably you do cooking and chores.
Yeah.
What other stuff? Where else does your time go?
Honestly, a lot of, a lot of dwelling, a lot of thinking, and kind of, wouldn't say daydreaming, but almost kind of just either living in the past or living in the future. Um, I find myself kind of always in one of those elements somehow for an extended period of time, just looking at things I've done wrong, times that I've been wronged, things I can do better, and where I want to be. And I sometimes spend too much time in that state. And then also as well, just a lot of it is internal. So like comparing myself to a lot of people, whether that be like my peers or professional sports people, or just anybody. Like I do, yeah, I do a lot of that, and also my siblings as well. Um, and then also
Is
just
so. So would you be like sat on a sofa thinking, or just when you're? Is there parallel processing? Like you could be doing something useful and thinking that, or are you just kind of stopped in a chair thinking?
yeah, kind of just stopped in a chair or in my car or just yeah, just somewhere where I'm able to just think, maybe have my headphones in, maybe not even have anything playing, but just have the noise cancellation on, and then just yeah, I'll just sit there and kind of just dwell. Like 5 minutes, I might imagine myself as kind of like this ideal sort of character, that everything's perfect and I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve and life is going on to be this perfect thing. And then for another 5 minutes, I might think about how much of a bad boyfriend I was to my ex-girlfriend and how I'm going to improve that for the future. And then the next 5 minutes, I might be thinking about how how much I disliked my childhood and how I'm going to make my children's lives a lot better by my standards. And then the next 5 minutes, I might be thinking about how my dad is just super disappointed with me. And the next 5 minutes, it might be it's just a lot of different worlds that I'm constantly in, that I'm always kind of just somebody else or just at a different point in time, like either myself as a teenager or myself in my 40s. And I just really need to or want to be spend more time being present, but I struggle just because I'm always either like some someone else in a different time, or I'm like a fictional character, or just something. My mind's gone somewhere else.
So, my initial thoughts are that that's going to be quite high up on our list of things to work on because if it would achieve two other things that are already on the list, which is if it would free up time.
Mm,
It's obviously that kind of stuff is an important part of our development, and if there's stuff to work through, it's so I'm not saying it's irrelevant, but if we can accelerate the working through it and get through that, then that frees up a lot of time. And the other thing is, of course, it can get that number on the happiness out of 10. It can push that up quite a lot because those things you said are um, fundamentally negative, although they're not fundamentally negative because everything has its place and everything's important, but uh, superficially negative, I guess, is a better word.
mhm,
Scratch the fundamentally. Um, so yeah, that 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 would give these sessions, if we continue a meaty objective, is sorting that out, and that maybe not the specifics of what you said, but struggling with negative mind frames is super common. Certainly in this day and age. Obviously, I don't know what things were like before the modern era when life was simpler. Maybe it wasn't common then, but that is super common.
mm,
Um, so yeah, I think people watching this would be super interested to know in their own lives how to change their let's just call it mindset.
mhm,
Um, yeah, and a lot of this stuff in life coaching, so much of it anyway, comes down to mindset. That's just the way it is.
yeah.
Um, okay, that's an awesome insight from my perspective because yeah, that's um, someone I was chatting to the other day on one of these sessions is they own a business and they also want to free up time, um, but they've they're kind of quite far down that path. So it's a challenge for me to work out how I'm going to contribute because they're already
Mhm.
quite an experienced business person and they've got all their systems aligned for the most part. Okay, what other things could you think of that you spend time on?
I spend a lot of time on YouTube. Honestly, just watching. Uh, I mean, there's always fights on, so I'm always in tune to a different fight week. Watching all the interviews, the weigh-ins, watching the press conferences, watching people breaking down the fights and watching training videos, and I'm almost engulfed in that. Like I really do have an interest in combat sports, and maybe that's something I would love to get into in the future, which is maybe why I watch it so much, just because I would love to kind of have the opportunity to be that voice. But that's something I spend a lot of time watching because I have a general interest in boxing and combat sports as a whole.
Hang on, I think I might. What you want to get into fighting or commentating on fighting?
Yeah, more like the analytical side of it. So either like presenting, interviewing the fighters, breaking down fights that are happening this week or next week, go into the fights and actually being there and interviewing them and just talking to the fighters about how their camp went and what they got into. Like is something I feel like I've got a good eye for the fight game and that stuff. And I feel like when I watch fights with people like my friends or whatnot, I break things down quite well, I've been told, and it's something I would love to get into. It's just more so just starting, but I find myself being in that place where I'm just constantly watching, doing research, seeing how this person does it, and then seeing how this person does it, and never actually executing it for myself. So I kind of just get stuck in the point where I'm just watching loads of content about like MMA and boxing and whatnot, and it's because I really enjoy it. Like some of the videos I watch, most people would find boring. Like it's generally like an hour breakdown of a fight, and I just sit there and I'm just like, this is just the most interesting thing ever. Like I'm rewinding certain things, and it's just like it's something I just find super interesting.
I mean, that's a that's a worthy objective in terms of. Am I saying it right? Commentating. I feel like I'm saying that word
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, like commentating, yeah, almost like
Yeah,
that,
that's a
commentating for them.
worthy objective. Um, yeah, interesting. Um, how much time do you spend socializing a week?
Say there's different sort of socializing. So there's socializing in the gym, boxing gym, where like might finish the session and I might end up staying for like another 30, 40 minutes just talking with everyone there. And then socialize with my friends who I grew up with, went to school with. We might meet up for anywhere from an hour to a few hours every night. Um, as we're getting older, that is starting to kind of decrease. Whereas it used to be like every day we're meeting up at like as soon as we finish work and then we're staying out until like midnight. And whereas now it's a bit more like chilled down, we're getting everything done, and then maybe 8 o'clock we might message each other. Are you around yet? Let's meet up for an hour or two and then just chat. And that could either be at the pub or we might just meet up in our cars, just talk in our cars, or I might drive to their house, they might drive to my house, or just go for walks.
And you happy with all that? That's you get what you want from that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not. I get what I want from it. Like when I meet up with them and we talk, and it's just like, yeah, how life is. Sometimes it's nice to do different things where it doesn't involve just chilling or going for a drink or whatnot, like maybe doing an activity. But again, I'm not the biggest. Like, I'm someone that likes to just chill and kind of just meet up with people and just talk and be in one space. So when someone does want to do something else, I'm always happy. Like, I wouldn't say always, like it might take a bit of convincing, but I'm happy to change. But if it's me, like if I'm arranging things, it would generally be something similar, just because that's more what I'm comfortable doing. So I do see my friends quite a bit, quite often. Yeah, we haven't lost that yet.
Funny, I can see from our chat why the that Myers-Briggs test thing, why it was struggling to which way to go with the introvert extrovert thing. You kind of have characteristics of both of those traits. Yeah. Uh, Anything else that springs out at you that you invest time in, or is that most of the stuff?
I would say that's most of the stuff. Um, I mean, yeah, do like a takeout, or just, yeah, I do like a takeout. So whether that takeout is like a proper Chinese in the evening, or I'm just out and about and I stop by KFC for a couple wings, that's also something I'm finding myself doing as I get older, and kind of, because it's weird, like what at one point in your life you're at a phase where you can't really afford anything, and every sort of takeout is like a massive chunk of your account because you're only working part time as like a teenager, young adult, and then you hit a point where you start making a bit more money, and you're like, you know what, I can afford to buy this food and afford to do that, and then you go too far down that side, and then I'm kind of bringing myself back to the point where it's like, okay, I want to have a burger for lunch, so I'm going to actually go and buy burger patties and buns and make it myself. And I find that balance of still eating the food I want to eat, spending the same amount I would have spent on the one burger, but now I have a pack of burgers that I can keep for a longer period of time. So I would say a lot of my time also goes into getting food, looking at different foods I can prepare, and generally just, yeah, watching YouTube and sports.
I've got a lady who very kindly cooks for me and does cleaning and stuff, and she's going away for a week next week. She's not in, and she
Mhm.
was joking as she left, like, don't be a dead skeleton when I get back, or something along the lines of skeleton jokes. And I was thinking, it's 50-50. I might be skinny, or I might be massively fat by the time you get back. It might be like takeouts and restaurants every day. I was like, could go either way. So yeah, there we are. Yeah, it's with the introvert extrovert thing. I feel like it. I feel like one of your introvert traits. It took me a while to dig to the answers I want. I feel like I've got more of the things I was looking for in the last kind of 25 minutes than whereas some people you speak to, and it's like just blasting out their mouth from the first moment. So what's going to happen next? From so basically, I'll speak to Hope from Mustard Models. From my perspective, I would love to carry on doing these sessions with you, but she'll reach out and then you can see whatever works for you.
Mhm.
It would be a slightly different arrangement in terms of we'd bulk buy a bunch of sessions, because obviously this is a one-off organized thing, but we wouldn't do a one-off organized thing. It would be something like 6 sessions at 45 minutes for one lump thingamajig, and then that will happen either every week or every 2 weeks, depending on various things. And in the meantime, well, whatever happens, I will rewatch this footage and I'll start working on an Armani document, which kind of condenses some of this stuff in and works on goals and stuff. And if we speak again, then we will go through that document, see what I've got right and what needs changing, and then put in the goals and the plans section stuff that we can measure to see if we're achieving whatever it is we're trying to achieve. And as time goes on, we'll work on that document.
Cool.
And that document will obviously be available to you, but it'll be available to anyone who watches as well, so they can see it, and if they want, create a document for themselves of a similar nature. But yeah, it's been really interesting. So really grateful for your time and your openness. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problems. So yeah, I'll speak to and you can decide what you want to do and let her know.
Brilliant. No worries. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Hope you have a nice rest of your day.
I actually just thank you. Cool, amazing.
No
All
worries.
right,
All right. Cheers. Thank you.
catch you later.
See you later.
It's interesting what Armani said about spending time thinking about what he had done wrong and ways in which he had been wronged, basically getting stuck in negative thought patterns. I'm learning so much doing this life coaching project, and one of the things which is crystallizing for me is that coaching really is about 2 main things: helping people reach their goals and guiding them into a certain mindset or a state of mind. One of my motivations for doing this project is that I want people to have what I have. And I'm not talking about my weird obsession with crocodiles or my questionable taste in music. What I have the majority of the time is happiness. And by happiness, I mean a feeling of being at one with the universe, a feeling of peace, a feeling of being content with things as they are, even when I'm working hard to change a situation. Also a feeling of excitement and fun. But it's not always as simple as just listing the ways to achieve that. If it was that simple, we would have all achieved it already. One of the objectives with my sessions with the coachees and with you guys watching the sessions is to just keep planting little mental seeds, which will hopefully guide people consciously and subconsciously in the right direction. Of course, I may have massively overestimated my abilities to do that. But on the bright side, if that does fail, at least you got to spend hundreds of hours watching my face on YouTube. You just can't lose.